going to put you in the hot seat, Mr. NHI's human identity in the hot seat, where I'm going to ask you 10 thought-provoking machine speed questions on identity management and security. So, Mike, are you ready?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Are orgs taking NHI risks seriously enough?
No. If they were, they would have a methodology to evaluate the risks. They would have more transparent systems and they'd be better at holding people accountable. So if they were serious about it, they'd be doing those things. So in my opinion, they're not really serious about it right now. They're actually somewhat hoping that it won't happen to them and sort of in denial about the risks that are out there.
Okay. Should agentic AI identities be treated separately to sort of the regular non-human identities that we know today?
I would say yes. So if we're looking at a taxonomy where software identity is at the top, we have different types of software identities, and agentic identities have their own metadata. For example, agents have capabilities. They might have models. They might have all sorts of information that are specific to agents and not to other types of software. So I think that it's important that we build systems for automatic registration of agents or ways, standard ways that agents can present their identity through attestation. But I do think that agents have specific properties that are unique and we need specific metadata and specific processes and tokens to represent that uniqueness.
Okay, great insights. Are organizations putting time to market ahead of security controls for AI agents?
Sure you don't mean vendors? um, no,
Well,
no
I get more organizations really as they're deploying AI
I mean,
agents.
the security, should you do it now, get customers now and ask for forgiveness later? I think that that's probably wise. Bad security didn't stop a lot of IoT devices from shipping, and I don't think we'll see different business decisions because security isn't ready.
Okay. And do you think CISOs are ready for the fleet of autonomous digital employees that are coming?
No. I mean, if they haven't done a good job figuring out how to evaluate the risks, if they haven't built transparent systems so they can see what's going on, and they can't hold people or software or business units or organizations accountable, if they can't manage trust, and if they can't create more of an operating methodology so that they can make this process continuous, then then they're not ready. And I don't see any of those systems in place. I don't think we have the identity infrastructure. I don't think we have the tokens, the flows to obtain those tokens, the ability to make policies, or the ability to govern those policies. So absolutely, CISOs are not ready.
Hey, this is a bit of more of a fun question. Do you think Mr. NHI posts too much on LinkedIn?
No, I think Mr. NHI doesn't post enough on LinkedIn. Actually, I think Mr. NHI should also get more posters to the NHI group and figure out how to get more. So no, I want more content.
Do you think zero standing privileges can work for NHIs and agents?
I think that's the wrong frame to look at it because the question, we shouldn't be managing the entitlements of identities. What we should be doing is looking at the action that wants to be performed on a resource and the context under which that's happening. And we shouldn't make principle or the identity the center of attention here. So I think that that question just betrays the fact that we don't understand how to scale security properly.
Okay, that's a great answer and fascinating insight. That's different
Mhm.
to many other people's view on things. So it's one of the reasons we have you here, Mike, on this show, given your unique perspectives. All right, is the recent market activity involving identity vendors like acquisitions, big fundraisers, a good thing for the industry?
Well, it's a good thing for founders who want liquidity or other reasons. The deals that I'll call attention to are Styra Apple. CyberArk, Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, Signal, Visa, ServiceNow, and Delinea StrongDM. Those are the recent transactions that sort of
Hmm.
stand out to me. And my observation is that the highest multiples were paid for companies that use either graph-based or Cedar-based authorization for their security.
Okay. Do you think the AI agent digital workforce will lead to mass unemployment?
No, because humans have a huge amount of processing power. I saw this video and it talks about 1 millimeter of nice mouse brain, and it projects that a human brain would basically take 4 million terabytes of cloud storage, and that doesn't into account for the complexity of the proteins that interact with those neural connections. So humans have a huge amount of processing capacity. Our challenge is how much can we stay on task? But I don't think that AI is going to be able to deliver that value metric of processing power anytime soon.
Yeah, great answer. All right, look, this next question might be similar to the zero standing question I asked earlier, but do you think PAM changes dramatically with the introduction of agentic AI agents?
Well, so in my jaded, cynical opinion, PAM is a connection to a legacy system, because as Alex Weiner pointed out on my IOH live stream, the old stuff never goes away. We bring in new stuff, but the old stuff's there. And so what PAM systems are is a collection of one-off connections, because the worst case in IT is managing an infinite number of one-offs. So what PAMs let you do is say, well, I have Microsoft Active Directory over here, that's still there. I have this Radius system over there. I have this thing that uses Kerberos. I'm going to like aggregate these things in one PAM. So I'm governing one PAM instead of three one-offs. And that's always going to be a good value proposition. And that's why PAMs always make business sense. Um, so, so the question is PAM going to change with AI agents? Well, hopefully we'll design our future systems better so they won't be one-offs and they won't need to be PAMmed in the future, is how I would answer that.
Okay, interesting. And then finally, do you think it's possible to truly govern and control agentic AI agents?
Well, we govern and control people, and AI agents are simpler than people. My take on it is that there's two approaches here. And I look at it like chess. In chess, you have an opening book, and then you go into analysis mode because the number of combinations becomes too huge.
Hmm.
So I think that with governance, we'll have similar things where we'll create a graph of all the stuff that we imagine might happen and create hard rules around that. Like we'll put up guardrails next to the hill so you can't fall over the mountain, right? However, once we get into the analysis phase, we can't really make rules about it. And so what we can do is we can punish transgressors. So we don't say you can't, we don't build guardrails so you can't murder people. But if you do murder somebody, we're going to hold you accountable for that. And so I think the governance of AI will evolve in similar ways. There'll be some things we can hard control, and there's going to be some things that we're going to need a transparent system that give us the ability to observe transgressions and then hold systems, people, and organizations accountable. So I think the answer though is yes, we will be able to govern it because we're humans.
Okay, that's a phenomenal answer. Great, great response. All right, look, I hope you enjoyed being in
I
the hot
did.
seat, Mike.